Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on what I know will be another great episode. I'm your host, Chase Chewning, and this is EverForward Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to the interview series. This is episode 4 of EverForward Radio. Thank you guys for joining me again. Like I said, we are diving back into the interviews. This is going to be my second interview podcast with Nick and Preston Bear. I came across Nick Bear's channel actually through a Snapchat friend of mine. This guy who follows me out of Texas kept referencing Nick Bear, Nick Bear, Nick Bear. Chase, I really think you like him. He likes beer. He likes lifting. He's in the Army. Go check out his channel. And I kind of tabled it for a while. I just got caught up with other things. But one day I finally did go check out his channel. I loved what I saw. He seemed like a really great, down-to-earth, chill guy, and I could just automatically and very easily connect to a lot of his content because of my Army history as well. So for those of you who are not aware, I spent 6 years active duty in the United States Army as a then 98 X-ray, which has since been turned into a 35 Papa. So I worked and lived in the military intelligence community. I was a Russian linguist. Sprachen Sie Ruski, which no, that's not actually a real thing. That's German and Russian put together. I digress. So Nick and I were able to easily connect over the military stuff. And then, of course, him and I both having YouTube channels. He was a larger channel than myself. At the time we connected, it was early 2016. And I think he had about 32,000 subscribers. And at that time, he had just transferred to Fort Hood, which is right on the outskirts of Austin, Texas. But he was being sent TDY to Korea for about an 8, 9, I think maybe even 10-month deployment assignment, TDY, whatever you want to call it. So during that time, Nick and I became Snapchat friends, YouTube friends, texting each other, just kind of, shooting the shit back and forth. And I really just grew to love what he was doing as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. I began trying his supplement line, Bear Performance Nutrition supplements. I loved his flight, his pre-workout, his creatine, his BCAAs, his intra-flight, and then later on his other products, Endo Pump, and everything else that he has coming out. So I really, really enjoyed what he was doing, how he was going about it, and just kind of his overall character. Fast forward a few months towards the summer of 2016, I began to be introduced to his brother, Mr. Preston Bear. Preston slowly became more integrated and involved with Bear Performance Nutrition. He was back in Pennsylvania, had recently graduated college, and was helping Big Bro while he was over in Korea. He was handling all of the orders and logistics and day in, day out shipping, returns, you name it, he was doing it because Nick could not be hands-on at the time. So when Preston came down to Austin to help further grow Bear Performance Nutrition and began looking for warehouse sites for Bear Performance Gym, which we all go into in the interview, I really began to kind of establish that same bromance and relationship with Preston. I just really became amused by their back and forth banter that really reminded me a lot of my relationship with my brother, and just loved seeing these two guys come together on a similar idea, but they both went around it in different ways. And so we planned this meetup, like I said, about late summer 2016, and it just so happened to work out that Nick was getting back from Korea about a week or two before Veterans Day, November 2016. And I thought, you know what? Hot damn, this is the best time to do a collab, best time to come down and finally meet up in person. And so Veterans Day 2016 rolled around. I took a long weekend, took about 4 days, went down to their area down in Austin, Texas there, and it was just an immediate connection like we had known each other for years. It was great to finally put, a person to a face, to a snap, to a YouTube video. And so they picked me up down at Austin Airport, stayed with them for the whole 4 days, and it was like we were friends for years. So this is going to be my interview with Nick and Preston Bear of Bear Performance Nutrition, Bear Performance Gym down in Austin, Texas. I think technically the gym is in Round Rock. Don't quote me on that. But if you're in the Austin area, definitely go check out Bear Performance Gym. I had a chance to work out with them there before it was completely furnished and finished as it is now. But we had a great deadlift workout, and it was great to just be involved in that initial process. I think that they're going to be doing great things with the gym, great things with their supplement line, and hopefully no strangers in mind when it comes to entrepreneurship. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, episode 4 of EverForward Radio, I give you Nick and Preston Bear. All right, guys, back here with another episode of EverForward Radio. I'm joined by Nick and Preston Bear of Bear Performance Nutrition and the soon-to-be Bear Performance Gym. So in quick about 10 seconds or so, just introduce what is BPN, what is Bear Performance Nutrition.
All right, guys, so I am Nick. I'm the owner of Bear Performance Nutrition and Bear Performance Gym. It's something I started when I was in college about 4 years ago, and it's slowly grown to what it is today. That whole time I was on active duty in the military, in the Army, and ended up down here in Texas just starting a gym with my brother here.
Yeah, and I'm Preston Bear. I'm his younger brother. I'm 3 years younger. I recently moved down from Pennsylvania, pretty much left my job after college, and pretty much working for my brother full time now. He's running things, and I'm doing a lot of the background work. So, just pretty much we're working together and trying to, make this company, both of these companies, grow as far as we can.
Yeah, so Nick, I'll start with you. You kind of just unraveled a few different things that I definitely want to talk about as far as starting a business while you're in college, going into active duty military. So let's go back to the origin. What was it? What was the process that had you become an entrepreneur or start your own business while still going through such a big life event as college?
So it was between junior and senior year of college, and I was about to commission through ROTC, and I was going to school for free through an ROTC scholarship, and we had the opportunity to take out up to $25,000 loan to kind of get started. It was considered a career starter loan through the military. A lot of people that I was with were taking it out for engagement rings, vacations, vehicles, fun stuff. But I saw it as an opportunity to kind of start a business, something I always wanted to do. And I love the supplement industry, the fitness industry, and I kind of saw it as a way in. And I never expected it to grow fast in the beginning, which it didn't, because I was on active duty, or at least on a path to be very busy with an active duty military career. But I saw it as something I could do post-military and do something I love.
Okay, so you already had an idea of what you wanted to do after the military, so I take it that you didn't want to make the military a career, kind of going into it. You knew that already?
Yeah, no, I always planned on just making it a 4-year commitment. I joined the military for 1, to pay for college, and 2, to serve my country. I just felt like it was always an obligation that I wanted to fulfill. But I wanted to do my 4 years, get out and move on to something else. And being an entrepreneur was just always something that interested me. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be my own boss.
Why a supplements company? Why? It sounded like you already had a vision of wanting to be your own boss, step out and do your own thing, start your own business. But why supplements?
Yeah, so in college I really fell in love with bodybuilding and strength training and nutrition, and I started doing bodybuilding competitions. And
that was your major, right?
Nutrition was my major, and I fell in love with everything about it in the fitness industry. And I found myself on YouTube watching videos and bodybuilding.com forums and learning more.
Yeah.
And then through my degree, I started learning more about nutrition and supplementation. And I was a supplement junkie just like everyone else. I was buying individual ingredients and mixing stuff up and selling it to my friends because it's what I enjoyed. And I was like...
making your own...
I was making my own pre-workout.
Your own stacks.
Yeah. And I was like, I might as well make my own company with this and see where it goes.
Okay. What was the first step you had to take as far as, so you had an opportunity to have funding? Where did you go from there?
So I started reaching out to private label manufacturers to get quotes based off my formula, because all the formulas were things that I researched and developed based off of what I wanted that product to perform and do. So I reached out to private label supplement manufacturers, got quotes and pricings. I started designing labels with label manufacturers. Looking back to where we started to where we're at now, everything was very unprofessional. Our artwork, our labels and logos, it's like...
hindsight being 20/20 in anything that we do.
It's ridiculous. I'm surprised anyone supported what I was doing. But worked with a few manufacturers. I'm actually my 3rd supplement manufacturer right now, just because we've outgrown some. Sometimes customer service wasn't on par. It wasn't what we were looking for as a partner in what we were doing. So I'd say as the company evolved, so did our manufacturing process. But just getting a shoe in and talking with manufacturers was the first thing to get started.
Okay. And so then going from manufacturing process to, of course, creating the label, creating the name. So you have the product, you kind of have an idea of what you want it to look like. What was that first launch as far as, marketing and getting your actual product out there to the public?
I mean, I jumped into it before I knew what I was doing in terms of marketing or branding, and I didn't realize how important branding was until I'd say recently. So I mean, we developed our website through a friend that was a graphic designer in our university.
Yeah.
I got one of my buddies to do my label and logos, and I was paying them in supplements. They weren't getting
barter system.
Yeah, it was like, hey man, if this company takes off, you're part of the process and the success. And at first, hey, yeah, man, for sure. And when it didn't take off right away, they were like, forget you. But our marketing really wasn't there. I mean, I didn't know how to use social media correctly.
There was no social media.
There was no social media presence. It was kind of...
When was this started? Like, what time frame? What year?
This was 2011? 2013. Yep.
Yeah.
So I remember there was one YouTuber I had in mind. I was like, I'm gonna give this guy a product, have him do a review, and if he does a review, I'll sell out of all my inventory. That was like
I'm in.
Yeah, I was like, if I can talk to this guy and he'll do a review, I'm done. I'll sell everything. I'll be rich. So like, product gets made. I send him the supplements to use. He shows them on his channel. Doesn't really do a review. He's kind of, hey, Nick Bear sent me this stuff, and no sales.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm screwed. Right?
Stuck with all this inventory.
Yeah, what do I do? So I tell you the truth, there weren't many sales coming in for about 2 years because I didn't really still understand marketing or the process or leverage behind social media. And at the same time, I was on active duty, so I was in different military schools, Ranger school, and I was just gone. I was never home to work on the company. And it wasn't until, I'd say, this past year where I was like, all right, I'm about to get out of the military in a year. What do I want to do? And I wanted the company to succeed.
Yeah.
So I started putting more work into social media and learning about marketing and business and being an actual entrepreneur, not just like, the wishful entrepreneur.
Right.
And that's when I started seeing the benefit and success. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. Just the amount of growth we've had in the last year it blows my mind still.
So you were doing all this while you were becoming an active duty Army infantry officer.
Yep.
Preston, where were you in the beginning stages of all this? Were you involved in that point?
I was involved in some, like in the very beginning of marketing. We would even go to like gyms, set up shop, have our banner out there, and if we were lucky, we'd get like one sale. Oh, wow. And that's when we didn't know what we were doing with all this marketing and stuff. So really when I started coming in was when we started getting orders this past year and just shipping out orders and, helping out with marketing, starting my channel. So
because you were still in school at the time as well.
Yeah, I was still in school. And I mean, he even was taking the company through, having it going during Ranger school, which was like 6 or 7 months. That's when my dad was, shipping out orders.
So I'm sure, Nick, you were probably really detached, weren't really able to commit or be as much as involved as you wanted, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, even in Ranger school, I remember like I'd get a phone call. I had a phone call like once every 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And I called just like, hey, how's the company? How's it doing? And there wasn't much cash flow or movement at the time.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's either it's good or bad. If it's bad, well, how do we fix it? If it's good, just sustain. I didn't really expect any forward progression.
Right.
As long as we could sustain what we were doing at the time, which wasn't much.
Yeah.
I was happy. I was satisfied.
What was the mentality like of being so detached in a sense of your baby, your new entrepreneur, your business basically, and letting your brother, your family kind of just in a sense take the reins because physically you couldn't be there? And just, I mean, I've never been to Ranger school, but I just know military schools in general, they take a lot of time, take a lot of mental capacity out of you. So what was that like, just kind of passing the torch, so to speak, in this new process?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty stressful because I remember the one time I got a phone call. I called home while I was in school.
Yeah.
And I talked to my dad for a little bit, and there was a problem with the manufacturer's last shipment to us. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't what we wanted. The flavor was off. It wasn't the product that we originally ordered and sourced. So I had an 8-hour pass the following weekend. So while on my 8-hour pass, I'm dealing with the Better Business Bureau, the manufacturer.
Wow.
And trying to coordinate and fix this problem, which it got resolved. But it's just like, you have 8 hours. 8 hours to fix this massive problem.
Which I'm sure 8-hour break from Ranger school, you would have much rather preferred to sleep or catch up on something else.
I was planning on eating like as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I'd say that was the most stressful part, was trying to like fix these small problems and knowing that the next time you'd be able to handle it is 3 weeks later.
Wow.
I'd say that was the hardest part.
I remember then, though, too, when you went into Ranger School, you just wanted to completely focus on Ranger School, and you said, you guys can take care of this, all the shipping and stuff like that, but I really need to just focus completely almost on Ranger School. while we keep the operations going and stuff. Just because it took so much out of you.
Yeah, I mean, in the military we call it like a relief in place, a RIP, where one organization comes in, takes over from the other organization. It's essentially what I did when I went to Ranger School. I just handed over all documentation, all passwords, all financial stuff to my brother, essentially. And it was like, I'm going to be gone for at least 2 months, handle this, and I need to focus on passing this school.
It's like a power of attorney in a sense, I guess.
Essentially, yeah. So I gave him all power and all responsibility of the business.
So I know being an officer, I mean, lieutenants, you guys are all trained to be leaders, to, kind of be the upper management, so to speak. What was it like being trained to be a leader while at the same time it sounds like you're kind of developing your own skill set of learning everything at the same time? So you're trying to go through the school, go through the education process, go through the military training of how to lead others and how to train others. But at the same time, you're trying to train yourself, lead this new growing team of Bear Performance Nutrition, your brother and your father, kind of you have a little bit of duality going on right there. How did you balance that as far as being the student and the teacher at the same time?
I read a lot of books and listened to a lot of podcasts about this topic. And essentially just came down to making it happen from whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
So I go to work my normal job. I show up at PT at 06 and we work till 5, 6 p.m. in the evening. And then I come home, and from 5 to 6 I'd start. That's when I start my YouTube channel. I film videos, and I'd start using social media for the company, reaching out to people, and I do that until midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And it was just that over and over again. So it was all prioritizing what you really want to do. And I didn't play video games. I didn't watch TV. I didn't go out. It was just for a long time just work and then work.
And this is all while you're stateside.
Right.
You actually just got back from a TDY. You've been in Korea, Seoul, Korea, right?
Yeah, I was in Camp Casey, South Korea.
For what, 9 months,
yep,
10 months?
9 months. 9 months.
So take all of those compounding factors of living the military life and an entrepreneur life stateside. Now you had to throw in the mix being literally on the complete opposite side of the world, time differences, language barriers. How did that throw a monkey in the wrench?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, being in Korea was easier to run the supplement company than to be back in the States.
Really?
Yeah, because in Korea, where I lived was right next to work.
Okay.
So you eliminate all travel time. There's only so much I could do in Korea, so there's only so much I could focus on. The only biggest, I'd say, obstacle was the time difference.
Okay.
So me trying to talk with manufacturers or people to do the labels, everything involved in the business, all service, all utility, everything, the time was off. So when I was supposed to be sleeping, I'd be waking up in the middle of the night to call manufacturers or have business meetings and stuff. And then I came back to the States, and I knew it would be overwhelming because at the same time we're opening the gym now. So there's more travel time involved. So right now in a day we probably drive upwards of 2 hours just to go to work and to the gym and stuff. And we've taken on a lot more responsibility with the gym and moving into a retail store and growth and expansion.
Right.
It's expected. Overwhelming responsibilities is expected. But I'd say Korea was the calm before the storm, and I knew it and I expected it. And I knew as soon as I get back to the States, it was going to be hit the ground running.
So Preston, obviously, while he was overseas, you had to step up more and became more involved. So what was it like going from finishing up college life to, you packed up a U-Haul and moved down to Texas to kind of do the process.
Yeah, it was so fast too, because in January, I remember talking to my boss that I got the job with out of college that we were thinking about folding the company because it wasn't doing that good. And then folding after
BPN?
Yeah, because, for 4 years sales weren't that good. They grew a little bit the last 2 years, but then
not enough to be enticing to keep going.
Right, not to, he was maybe going to look for a different job, out if it wasn't doing as good. But then things just completely took off. And then once I graduated college, that's when things really even took off more and more sales. And like he said, he was doing his job besides his Army job. So besides his 9 to 5, he would have, work after that. I would do the same thing, pretty much come home from my 9 to 5, do orders, do YouTube, stay up till 1 to 2 in the morning, and then wake up at 6 the next day. So
full-time job after your full-time job.
Yeah. And I was spending a lot of time traveling to and from work then too. So that was more wasted time. So, it was really busy and hectic all the time, but I knew whenever I talked to him on the phone, he would always pretty much tell me where the company was going, and everything that he told me to this point has pretty much come true. And so I knew it was going to be a temporary thing where, you know, I was going to do these 2 jobs and I was going to come down here and, you know, things have worked out and it keeps growing. So it has worked out to this point. But yeah, those 3 or 4 months where I was doing both my 9 to 5 and BPN, it was pretty crazy.
So I've heard both of you kind of attribute a certain time or maybe even event of when things just took off. When was that? Why was that? Do you know why you kind of just went from being, sounds like, you know, semi-stagnant to just really being catapulted into, you know, having a much bigger project on your hands?
Yeah, it was right after the new year. So like January of 2016, I kind of just got fed up with like not progressing.
Right.
And I realized like there was no other contributing factor other than myself that I wasn't progressing.
That's a big realization.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you want something to succeed, you can do something to fix it.
Like if it's your company and you're the boss, and I mean you're one of 2 employees, there are only so many other people you can point the finger at.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time I was blaming it for a million reasons, but it came down to we're not doing something right.
Yeah.
So we built a whole new website. So I was on block leave, Christmas leave. So I was back in Pennsylvania. Spent the whole time building a new website. We redid all of our social media platforms. So kind of rebranded. We did new labels, new logo. So everything was like a fresh start.
Yeah.
And then I had a YouTube channel going, but then I started creating different content. So I started pushing, I don't want to say pushing more product, but adding more value, bringing up the company more, talking about the vision that we saw the company and where it was going.
Yeah.
And then that's when we started talking about the gym as well. But I'd say like a whole rebranding process to give the company a new look.
Yeah.
And kind of like a fresh start really just catapulted things.
So during that block leave Christmas time, during your 8-hour pass in Ranger School, I hear in kind of a pattern of anytime you have free time, you go back to the business. Do you feel like anything has been missed out on as far as time to yourself, time to your family? You always hear the entrepreneurs, people starting their own business, it's just get tunnel vision. You know, they only see what they want to accomplish. They've got the eye on the prize. Have you gotten any kickback as far as family members wishing they'd seen you more, things maybe you wish you guys had done? I mean, being in college, being new in the military are big pivotal times in your life where you are changing as a person, you're experiencing things for the first time, meeting new people all over across the world, but you always went back to your business.
I'd say that's like definitely one of my strengths is being focused. And when I am focused, like sometimes it's bad to say, but nothing else matters than what I'm focused on. So I tend to neglect a lot of other things. And you get feedback from friends and family saying, and I mean, we're falling into it right now where we have Thanksgiving coming up, we have Christmas coming up, and people are like, hey, you coming home? And no, we can't. It's just like, we need to work on the gym or we need to be here to ship out sales.
Yeah.
So it gets to a point where there have to be a few years where you're hurting, or you got to put in the work before you see all the success. But I'd say we're getting to that point where we're transitioning to growing our team, where once we're able to bring on more team members and employees, it'll take some of the load off of us. And I want to get to the point where I'm not doing, or me and Preston aren't doing the small, shipping and some of the marketing and administration work, and we can go to the next echelon up and work on more refinement and overall just like strategy for the company.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is next level? So you guys have started from a supplements line to now your own private gym. Well, I guess soon to be public gym.
Right.
But, where do you go as a company from supplements, gym to what?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, actually. I don't see any growth or expansion with the gym. The gym was never something we wanted to do for a franchise or open multiple gyms. It was just kind of something for our own benefit.
Right.
We want to work out and train and film videos in our own gym.
Yeah.
But also a place to collaborate with the local community and online community.
Okay.
So that's as much as it is for the gym. The supplement company has exponential growth from what we see.
Right.
And we haven't even touched 1% of the market yet.
Well, I don't think we even talked about what are your supplements? What exactly do you have on your product shelf?
Yeah, so right now everything's geared towards performance.
Okay.
So we have pre-workout, branched-chain amino acids, creatine, a non-stimulant based pump product.
Yeah.
And then the next in line or next in shoot is a protein powder. So we'll be doing whey protein powder next.
A lot of supplements are out there.
There are.
What separates Bear Performance Nutrition supplements from what I could walk in the GNC and get?
I'll give you like two kind of perspectives. So the supplements themselves, no proprietary blends. Everything's dosed appropriately. We don't add ingredients you don't need. It's going to be things you feel and will benefit from performance-wise. That's why we don't have a million different SKUs on our website or variations, because we believe there's a few tried and true ingredients that will actually help increase performance. So we stick to the basics pretty much. So from kind of a features perspective, that's kind of our take on it. From the other side of the branding perspective, it comes down to me and Preston, the people behind the brand.
I'd say trust. Trust is the biggest thing. It's an industry where things can be sketchy, and there's some sketchy owners and CEOs that you can't trust. When you see someone on YouTube, and you see everything behind the scenes and things like that, trust, I would say, is the biggest thing.
You would, your mom would trust you to let her take the supplements?
Well, our mom does take the supplements.
She does take it?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
And our dad.
So Mama Bear approved, huh?
She does. There's a lot of companies out there, too, that will make their products at the lowest cost they can, because a lot of times they're going to sell it wholesale and then they'll resell it in retail.
Right.
We go direct to consumer right now, so we can put more effort into developing our products. I think that's why we've been getting such good reviews too.
Yeah.
We've changed a few of our products formulations over the years, but very, very slightly, because they've received so much feedback. All the reviews on our site are mostly 5 out of 5s.
Yeah.
And I mean, we get the feedback based off of the quality assurance that people receive from it.
And next for you guys is the protein powder, right?
Yeah, Proto, basic whey protein powder will be next. It's just that we want the flavors to be absolutely perfect before we release it.
Okay. Segueing out of the Army is another big transition. What's your mindset about that right now? You have about, 4 or 5 months left?
Yeah, I got about 4.5 months left on active duty before I go on terminal leave.
And speaking from personal experience, honestly, once you hit that year mark out, your whole life changes in the military. You have so many other briefings and trainings and out processing and debriefings and meetings for meetings that almost getting out becomes your whole new job. Yeah. What does that look like for you now, and how are you prepping for that separation?
Well, up until last week, I was still a platoon leader.
So you were still doing your job?
Yeah, I was still doing my job. I mean, transitioning back from Korea, it's kind of a whole different game right now, because it's a reorganization.
Yeah.
So I'm not a platoon leader anymore at this point. So I'll probably just go to an S shop. But my focus is now my companies.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyone transitioning out is going to be given time to kind of get on their feet, whether that's going back in the civilian sector and find yourself a 9-to-5, or starting your own business. So my focus now is to transition out and kind of how I'm going to utilize all this extra free time I'm going to have after getting out to grow the companies.
What has being in the military taught you about being a person, being an entrepreneur? How would you kind of correlate some learning curves from the military to growing your business, to stepping out on your own? I'd
say responsibility for one. Being in the military, you're responsible for yourself, everything you do, and don't do everything your unit, or in my case platoon, accomplishes or doesn't accomplish. So owning up to it, accountability, structure, discipline. Overall, though, my biggest takeaway has been just my leadership abilities I've learned from good and bad leaders, mostly bad leaders. You learn from their mistakes and their failures more than their successes.
What does a good leader look like to you? What does a bad leader look like to you?
I mean, there's a lot of variation. I can paint a small picture. Yeah, I can paint a picture in a bunch of different people. But some of the best leaders I've worked with, being in the infantry, just the top physical shape. Perception is reality.
Yeah.
In business as well. I mean, when you look at someone behind a company, what do they stand for? What do they look like? Do they represent something that you want to use or represent yourself?
Initial impressions, everything.
Yeah, it really is. But then getting to know that person, what are they going to do? What are they willing to do for you? What can they do for you? Are they going to go to bat for you? And do they want you to succeed? Are they about themselves? Like in the military, are they about building their evaluation so they look better? Or are they about building your evaluation so you look better?
Preston, not to put you on the spot, but in a sense now, like Nick's your leader. You kind of stepped into helping him with his company, and I guess get down to brass tacks, I mean, your brother's your boss now.
Yeah.
And how does that look for you?
I mean, I've noticed such a change the last 8 or 9 months, of this growth, how much he delegates to me now. And, he won't give specifics, but he'll tell me what to do. And I do have to figure it out in a way, but just the delegation of tasks so that it all comes together now. Because we're not always doing the same thing. We're always at different spots doing different things. Right. And it kind of comes together, and just the way he's able to delegate that, I think that's what I see in him as a leader right now.
So what does your day-to-day look like now that you are getting these delegated tasks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm running all over the place right now, doing shipping, filming videos, anything with marketing. Now, since we're not in our central location yet, we're going to start shipping out Monday, so where we don't have to go to the post office anymore. They come to us. That's going to make things a lot easier. So just trying to streamline a lot of processes too, and then just get the gym ready. That's what my day is looking like right now. So
I'll kind of give you an example of how I've seen him change over the last couple months, and in terms of like my leadership kind of strategies. So in the beginning, I would give him a task, and he would come back to me with a problem of why he couldn't do that task.
Okay.
And that would piss me off more than anything else. And I would tell him, dude, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with solutions. It's like if I give you something, it's typically pretty broad. I'm not going to tell you how to do it exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to do something because you need to figure it out because I can't figure it out at the moment.
Yeah, as a leader, you need to be able to convey that vision and have the people around you carry that out.
Yep. So, he doesn't bring me problems anymore. He'll bring me solutions. So it's not only him working for me, but it's mentoring him as well. So that, the hopes is that eventually he goes off and either is managing his own regional distribution center or his own company if he wants to.
Because I'm going to be operating that place, and then I'll be hiring people. So, just an example of this, the big thing, I came down here and my first task was pretty much to, find a commercial real estate place. I had no clue, about commercial real estate, which it's a big thing too. You sign that lease.
Yeah,
it's hundreds and thousands of dollars. So it's like, I had to do a lot of learning. It was a lot of pressure. We had a timeline.
All while Nick is on the other side.
All while he's doing that. He gave me, certain requirements. He wanted between 5,000 and 7,000 square feet, bathrooms, things like that. But I really had to do a lot of homework and, find the solution.
Yeah.
So it was a learning curve, especially coming into a new area. When you come into a new area, everything seems so fast paced.
Yeah.
You're not used to the area. You don't know where you're going. So that was a struggle, but we did find a solution for it.
So if you guys weren't doing Bare Performance Nutrition, if you weren't working in the supplement field, opening up your own gym, where do you think you would be right now? Nick, would you still be transitioning out of the military?
Yeah, I'd still be transitioning out. I'd be looking for a 9 to 5. 2 years ago, I was looking for what I could really do with a nutrition degree outside of the military. I ended up, I think I was on like Wegmans store or website or something looking for jobs. But
working at a vitamin shop.
Yeah, I really, after being in the military, I didn't want to work I wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah.
It's that I don't mind working for people. It's just that I don't like doing things that I don't see a direct success or outcome from. If you know what I mean? I don't like wasting time on certain things. And I saw the biggest investment and return on investment in opening my own businesses. Okay.
Preston, do you feel the same way? Have you always kind of had, I guess, working for yourself mentality, entrepreneurship?
Not really. I pretty much did a 360. Just what happened when we started seeing growth, and Nick would call me every week, even while I was at college, before I started my 9 to 5 right out of college. I would get these motivational talks from him where this company was going, where it was headed. And at first I didn't think it was possible. You never think that, that can happen to you.
Yeah.
But he pretty much gave me the vision that he saw. And I just kept following it. And before I even started that 9 to 5, I knew I was quitting that job. Okay, so I was there for 2.5 months.
So he'd already instilled that.
Oh, yeah. So I knew this, he instilled the vision. Yeah. And at the time, it was pretty crazy if I would have quit my job then. Yeah. Because, sales weren't really good enough to cover both of us and get a warehouse.
Right.
But it's to the point now where that vision, it pretty much went past that vision, where he saw the company going. So I pretty much just followed what he was saying and saw the exact vision he saw. So,
how are you liking Texas so far?
I love it. I was just so sick of my 9 to 5 job. I don't mind 9 to 5s, but just the environment and just the life, everything was kind of becoming dull in my life, and it just wasn't for me.
It's great to be around family, I'm sure, starting a business or just, working together. Besides having your brother here and your family back home, what else are you guys, really thankful for right now that's kind of paying off for the business, paying off your personal life?
Just that, initially that we had the opportunity, and that really thankful that things are falling into place. I mean, it seems that we time things very well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes down to luck. Like, we time things perfectly to luck out to where, the business took off within a year of me getting out of the military. And all these things started growing. So I'm thankful for just taking advantage of opportunities when we did to place ourselves in this position.
And we had patience and stuff too. I was just watching a podcast on that about having patience. Yeah. Someone was saying how these people have, worked with their business for years and years, and then just one day, give up and don't think. And if they would have waited a little bit longer, they would have finally got it going. And
payoffs just around the corner.
we almost ended it before it took off, but we were patient enough. I think that's what I'm thankful for, that we waited that long. So it could be a year, it could be 4 years. For us, it took a while. All these other supplement companies, they'll have the big following, and then, they'll come out with a nutrition line. We did it, reverse, so it took us a lot longer. So,
what does 2017 look like for Bear Performance Nutrition?
2017 is a big year. Planned for a huge year. We're gonna hit milestones that are personal and company goals, but there will be so much more time to be able to be dedicated to the company. Mm-hmm. I'll be out in the military. We'll have the gym set up. Right now, a lot of our time is setting up the gym. Yeah. But once we have systems in place and pretty much SOPs, standard operating procedures, they're all in set. It makes my job a whole lot easier, where I can focus on strictly marketing. Mm-hmm. That's going to be my bread and butter, is the marketing. Preston is manager of the gym operations and all product fulfillment and inventory control in our distribution center. So it gives us both direct responsibility of different things. Yeah. But more oversight of where we can kind of refine our skills.
Being in a field where, in a sense, it is really saturated.
It is, yeah.
There's a lot of fitness YouTube. Everybody likes to work out and take supplements, and this whole industry is really saturated right now. In a market where a lot of people are kind of doing a similar thing, who do you guys look up to? Who do you get inspiration from? Where do you kind of go when you're looking for ideas? If any.
I enjoy podcasts. Yeah. Majority of it. So I'll listen to Gary Vee, Lewis House,
Gary Vaynerchuk.
We got MFCEO Project. They just have a lot of insight. Some are specific to our industry, some are not. But most of the time, you don't need a speaker or a mentor that's specific to your industry. Yeah. The business in general. business is business. Marketing is marketing. People are people.
And so anyone out there who's interested, maybe, hey, I want to start a supplements company, or I want to open up a gym. I need to find someone who has done that to learn from. I guess the question I'm asking is, what would you tell someone trying to follow your footsteps, in a sense, or just step out on their own, to pay attention to? Who should they be listening to, reading? What type of concepts should
I'd say most of it, reading revolved around branding. Branding is everything. Okay. Personal branding, company branding. It creates identity, and it creates what you represent. You'll never master branding, but you can always improve your branding. Right. So I'd say if you can learn more about branding and marketing, and taking advantage of social media. Right now we're in the limelight of social media. Yeah, absolutely. If you're not taking advantage of it, you're already behind.
Yeah, it's huge. Because that's how you grew it, from YouTube, pretty much. So
yeah, like I said, and like you said, it is a saturated market. Yeah. But there's always a niche that you can find. Yeah. Mine being military background. Absolutely. That's created a huge niche for me and given me the opportunity to kind of put myself on YouTube and social media and grow that way.
So let's say, God forbid, knock on wood, tomorrow, Bear Performance Nutrition catches fire, it's all gone. What do you guys do from there?
Start a new company.
Start a new company.
On to the next one.
I love this too much right now, what we're doing.
So many entrepreneurs always have kind of like the next one mentality. What is your next one? If not supplements and not a gym, where do you see the BPN name progressing?
I've always talked about this. My long-term goal I would like to eventually get to the point where I've started and run multiple successful companies, and that I can kind of be a marketing expert and help new startups.
Okay.
So with branding and marketing, and kind of take them from the initial stages or somewhere where they're struggling,
Right.
and help propel them into that next level of success.
So kind of consulting, I guess.
Yeah, marketing consulting.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Preston, Nick, thank you guys so much for being on today.
Yeah,
I've spent the past 3 days, almost 4 days with you guys. So I can definitely tell you that when Preston says he's running to the post office, it's a little bit of an understatement. He goes to the post office, then goes back to the post office, and stops at the post office on his way to the post office.
A lot of driving right now.
So definitely a couple of hardworking guys who share a vision, and it's very obvious from the moment I met them to the last night here that they both have a passion for what they want to do, and they've applied a purpose to that. So those are two big concepts that I always try to hone in on in these interviews, and who I'm talking to is anyone can have a passion. It's just you got to be able to apply it to a purpose, and kind of the blend, that middle ground where those two come together is, I think, where a lot of people fall short. And you can just be passionate about something all day long, but if you don't know how to apply it and you don't know who to include in that journey, then that's really where you begin to fail. So stay tuned, everybody. Bear Performance Nutrition is going to be big in 2017 and on. I've been a big fan of Nick and Preston since day one, and go Army.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.